A lot of beginners are intimidated by barbell exercises such as the squat. I know I was. And while you might feel like you aren't ready to try squatting with the 45-pound barbell, there are basic squat exercises that you can progress with. They can both help you teach you the squatting movement and build your strength so you can feel more confident when you go squatting with the 45-pound barbell. Here's a method for teaching yourself how to do a basic barbell squat. This method uses 3 progression exercises, each increasing in difficulty. These progressions will help prepare and teach you to be able to execute your barbell back squat with safe and effective form. The first level progression exercise is the bodyweight squat. Keeping your back relatively flat, bend your knees and push your hips back. Squat down until your knees are at 90 degrees or slightly below. The movement should be performed with control. You should be able to maintain your knees more or less in line with your feet and your center of gravity spread out evenly. Your feet should remain planted on the ground. If you can, use a mirror or film yourself, or have someone else check to make sure you're going all the way down to at least 90 degrees. If you can do a set of 15 repetitions with clean form, no problems, then you can move on to the next progression. If you're unable to do a bodyweight squat to at least 90 degrees with control, start with a bodyweight box squat. This will help you develop the strength and balance to do a proper bodyweight squat. Standing with a box behind you, maintaining a relatively flat back, sit back onto the box so you're slightly above or at 90 degrees at the knees. Do not relax onto the box. Maintain tension in your legs so that your butt is barely touching the box. Once you've gotten the hang of the bodyweight squat, you can move on to the next progression, the goblet squat. The goblet squat will help us learn to squat while carrying an external load. A goblet squat is an easier transition to adding an extra load to the exercise than going straight to a back squat. This is because in the goblet squat the weight is held right over our center of gravity, making the movement very similar to a bodyweight squat. In a barbell back squat, the weight is slightly behind our center of gravity, making the movement slightly different compared to the bodyweight squat or goblet squat. With the goblet squat, we can also start with lighter loads and slowly add more weight to make sure we're confident enough to squat with a 45-pound barbell. When squatting with an extra load, it's important to make sure your torso is stable and braced throughout the movement. This means your abdominal muscles and back muscles are engaged and are able to maintain tension and stability throughout the movement. To properly brace your core, imagine someone about to punch you in the gut. You don't want your body to be soft and loose. You want all your core muscles to be activated and bracing hard. Maintain this tension throughout the lift, even when breathing. Don't let your core relax. When you breathe in, you want to breathe into your core and not your chest. Try taking breaths in between repetitions and breathing out after clearing the hardest part of the lift. This is usually after the midway point on the way up during the squat. Grab a dumbbell or weight plate. Hold the weight up to your chest. Perform a squat just like you did with the bodyweight squat, bending your knees and pushing your hips back until you're lower than 90 degrees, keeping your back relatively flat the entire time. Once you're able to do a set of 15 repetitions with at least 30 pounds on the goblet squat, you're ready to move on to the barbell box squat. This exercise is very similar to the full barbell back squat, but really emphasizes hitting the bottom of the squat with complete control and not loosening up. The box squat will also help you get used to lifting with a barbell on your back. Find a box where you can squat down to at an angle of about 90 degrees or slightly lower. Set the box in the squat rack, with the box set up behind you. Set the rack height for the barbell. The rack should be lower than your shoulders. Grip the bar. Pick a grip width that is comfortable for you. You can use a full grip with thumbs around the bar or a thumbless grip. Both grips are fine. Make sure you grip the bar evenly. Bring yourself under the bar. Place the bar between your upper traps and your rear delts. Don't place the bar too high on your traps. The bar might end up resting on your cervical spine instead of the trap muscle. This will cause pain in the neck. The lower you place the bar, the more lean forward you will be. The higher you place the bar, the more upright you will be. Set the bar where it's most comfortable for you. If you feel pain in your spine, you're putting the bar too high. Roll the bar lower down your traps so it rests on the meat of your muscles. Your upper back should be extended, not rolled forward. Shoulders packed down, back tight, lats engaged, and chest up. Now is time to unrack the bar. Make sure your legs are even. Take a breath into your stomach. Squat the bar off the rack. Take a second to let the weight stabilize on your back. Your upper and lower back core muscles should remain tight and braced to ensure you're able to maintain a strong, stable posture. Be aggressive. Think about yourself moving the weight, not the weight moving you. Don't let the weight loosen your posture. Walk the bar out a couple steps behind the rack. When walking the bar out, try to take as few steps as necessary. 3 to 4 small steps should be all you need to be able to efficiently walk out the barbell. The fewer steps you take, the better. It saves energy and makes it easier to maintain a good position. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. Squat down so your butt just touches the box. Don't relax onto the box. This is a touch and go box squat. This exercise is meant to help get you used to squatting to depth with a barbell, while also focusing on maintaining tightness at the bottom of the squat. Once you're able to do a touch and go box squat, it's time to move on to the full barbell back squat. Everything should be the same, from the unrack to the walkout. The only difference this time is there's no box to help remind you to stay tight at the bottom. Just like the touch and go box squat, focus on maintaining tension at the bottom of the movement. Take a breath in at the top, bend your knees, push your hips back till your hip crease is in line or slightly below your knees. Try to keep your knees in line with your feet. I recommend people to try and work towards a full range of motion for squats where the hip crease goes below the top of the knee. Full range of motion results in more strength being built in a wider range of positions. When standing up, your shoulders and hips should rise at the same pace. Now that you are starting to get a hang of the basic barbell squat, you can slowly work on tweaking your form to fit your individual body. Everybody is built differently, so you shouldn't try to copy someone else's form exactly. What works for them might not work for you. For example, some people feel stronger with a more upright squat, while others are stronger with a more lean forward posture. You might make some adjustments to your squat technique based on your goals as well. For example, if you're training for powerlifting and you're able to lift a bit more weight with a low bar squat as opposed to a high bar squat, you might focus more on low bar squats where you're stronger, where you're able to lift more weight. Whereas if you're training for the sport of weightlifting, you might opt with a high bar squat, which will have more carryover to the sport.